Hello there. Welcome to Just the Discs. We talk about Blu-rays here, and today I'm going to talk about Fun City Editions and their latest release, Bad Company. But before I get into that, I wanted to mention some really exciting stuff they have going on in terms of announcements from Fun City. Two really cool 80s movies coming in October. In terms of the release date, I'll do the last one first, which is Heavenly Bodies, which is a longtime favorite of my good friend and programmer at the New Beverly's, Phil Blankenship's favorite movie for a long time. I believe he's said that. And this movie has never been on Blu-ray, stars Cynthia Dale, and is just an absolute blast. Great soundtrack, kind of becomes almost a they shoot horses, don't they, kind of thing, because it deals with the rivalry between two athletic clubs that turns into a competition, and I'm a huge fan. I've seen it multiple times, but this new edition from Fun City is going to be as I said, worldwide Blu-ray debut, and it's from a new 4K restoration of the 35mm Internegative. So it's going to look better than it's ever looked. Widescreen, this is going to be great. This is a favorite also of, I think, Millie DeChirico, who used to program TCM Underground. And, I cannot wait for this disc. In terms of the extras, there's going to be a new video interview with star Cynthia Dale, and Millie DeChirico is doing a commentary with Jeffrey Mixed. Very excited about that. Plus a new booklet essay from Margaret Barton-Fumo and Nathan Holmes. And this you can order from the Fun City website, and the slipcovers are exclusive to the Fun City website at this time. So you want to get your pre-order in for that. I'll leave the link for it there. The other one that's coming, so that's coming on the 22nd of October. And on the 8th of October, an equally rare, also never on Blu-ray movie, Paradise, with Willie Ames and Phoebe Cates. And this one, something of a Blue Lagoon type movie, about two teenagers who come of age in the isolation of a lush desert oasis in the 19th century Middle East. It's definitely one that I am not even sure if I've seen all the way through, because it's been really hard to even see it for a long time. It was on VHS. I think it was on Laserdisc maybe. But been tricky to see, especially not in a good format. And this is another one that's making a first-time appearance on Blu-ray, 4K restoration from its original 35 camera negative, and contains several minutes of never-before-seen footage, as well as the chart-topping theme song sung by Phoebe Cates, which, I don't think has been part of all versions that were released. So very exciting stuff on that one. And in terms of extras, it's going to have a newly recorded audio commentary by Nathaniel Thompson, a booklet essays by Margaret Barton-Fumo and Amanda Reyes. Very excited about that. So very cool stuff. Cannot wait for October. Again, pre-order through funcityeditions.com and get the slipcover, site-exclusive slipcover. I just wanted to mention those up top because I'm very excited for those coming out in October from Fun City. But let's move on to their latest, Bad Company, starring Jeff Bridges and Barry Brown. And this one is, I believe, also a Blu-ray debut, if I recall. Let's see here. I'm not actually sure, but I'm pretty sure. But this is been restored in 4K from its original 35 camera negative. Yes, Blu-ray for the first time. So this is from 1972. It is a Western, and it stars Jeff Bridges and Barry Brown. As I said, Barry Brown, a really interesting and tragic figure in terms of cinema because he didn't do a ton of movies, but the ones he did I find very interesting. And between this and just Daisy Miller, which he did for Peter Bogdanovich, two really great roles for him. And this is sort of the website describes it as thus. This tale of friendship and survival set during the days of the 1860s focuses on a roguish group of runaways living by their wits and natural instincts. Two of them in particular are complementary opposites. Drew, that's Barry Brown, is a good boy from God-fearing stock in Ohio, out west to evade the draft. And Jake, that's Jeff Bridges, is a scruffy scoundrel, a saddle tramp, not above a little larceny here and there. Along the trail, they encounter a variety of varmints, renegades, and eventually find themselves older and wiser for the journey and friendship, sensitively and realistically filmed. This is the directorial debut of screenwriter Robert Benton, who I'm a huge fan of, and who, is I think known for a lot of things, but one is that he is one of the writers on Bonnie and Clyde from 1967, which was definitely a watershed film in terms of its, a lot of things, but definitely the violence, and just a really neat screenwriter who would work on other things like What's Up, Doc and Kramer versus Kramer. I think he won an Academy Award for Best Adapted. And he also worked on Places in the Heart and won Best Original Screenplay for that. And he got 2 nominations for Bonnie and Clyde and The Late Show, which is another movie of his that I adore, from 1977 with Art Carney and Lily Tomlin, that I would love to see get a Blu-ray. That's going to be a little trickier because it's a Warner Brothers film, but here's hoping that might happen at some point. Now, anyway, so Bad Company, he, writes and directs. I think there might be another screenwriter on this one. David Newman, who was, somebody he worked with a lot on Bonnie and Clyde, etc. And yeah, this is just a really neat, I don't want to say low-key Western, but it's interesting in that it's almost like a coming of age, but it's more than that. I mean, and one of the great things about it is its cast. Jeff Bridges and Barry Brown are, two guys that meet each other. It's a classic sort of setup in some ways where Barry Brown is, trying to dodge the draft. He's new in this small town, and Jeff Bridges is this guy who's going to show him the ropes, and then ends up clocking him on the head with a pistol and rolling him. And then he and Barry Brown find each other again through this weird happenstance, and they end up, Barry Brown has to join his gang, which consists of Jerry Hauser, who I recognize from Summer 42, but he's in some other stuff. And then John Savage is another one of the guys in this gang, as well as Joshua Hill Lewis and Damon Douglas, who I recognize from Massacre at Central High. He's one of the baddies in Massacre at Central High. So Barry Brown kind of gets roped into this gang of ne'er-do-wells, and they have some difficulties, not the least of which is another criminal gang led by the great David Huddleston. So another note on the website is, years before their famous pairing as the two Jeff Lebowskis in The Big Lebowski, Jeff Bridges and David Huddleston were adversaries in this acid western. That's one of the descriptors for the film. So it's really neat to see that David Huddleston has this great persona in this movie. He's fantastic, actually. And he has a gang of criminals played by such character actor greats as Ed Lauter, Jeffrey Lewis, and John Quaid, who, if you don't know that name, when you see him, you'll recognize him. He's a traditional villain type that shows up in a lot of stuff. And yeah, so it's just this really neat Western, but very much of that 70s New Hollywood vibe. And I'm really a big fan of it. And I hadn't seen it in quite some time. So I was very excited to check out the new Fun City Blu-ray, which looks great. Here's the slipcover. This is an exclusive to the website. Has Barry Brown on one side and Jeff Bridges on another. And then I have flipped the artwork here. They always have lots of great artwork on the Fun City discs. They'll have multiple, reversal wraps so that you can flip it around however you want, customize it. And this includes a commentary from Walter Chow, which is very good, and he's wonderful. I love that he's become sort of a collaborator with Fun City Editions, having worked on some stuff for the Seeing Red box set, and I feel like maybe another one. Yeah, this is a really, really nice disc and a great movie that I highly recommend if you're a fan of the 70s New Hollywood, if you're a fan of Westerns, particularly Westerns that are maybe a little less traditional. This is not necessarily an upbeat story, but it has comedic moments. So this is the booklet with the essay by Margaret Barton Fumo. Just going to read the opening bit here. A bleak picaresque that turns the ideal of westward expansion straight on its head. Robert Benton's directorial debut, Bad Company, is one of the finest of its genre. A revisionist Western squarely at home in the Vietnam era. Yeah, that's something I hadn't even pointed out. This idea of guys dodging the draft being sort of the impetus for Barry Brown's character going on the run. And I think Jeff Bridges' character maybe as well. I can't remember specifically, but so that's a very, direct allegory there for the Vietnam experience. Following the Ohioan Drew Dixon, played with gusto by Barry Brown, as he travels west to dodge the Civil War draft, the film deftly blends youthful grandeur with harsh reality, painting a bracingly sober picture of America during a national conflict. Teamed up quickly with the rakish Jake Rumsey, Jeff Bridges, and his crew of young scofflaws, Drew struggles to uphold his Christian morals as the group rapidly increases their criminal activity in an area of the country where anything goes. There is reason, however, why Jake invited Drew to join this scrappy gang, each member hand-picked for gumption, a reason that becomes clear as the film progresses and Drew's inner wild man grows evident. We catch a glimpse of it in Missouri, where Jake robs Drew of a few dollars, and in retaliation, Drew fights and flails like a feral cat, biting Jake's hand and dumping his boot in a pot of boiling stew. Significantly, this brawl in a reverend's home, where neither boy pays any heed to the tidy furnishings, thoroughly smashing up the place with abandon. It seems that when put in a corner, Drew's severe Christian ethics fly right out the window, literally. So great start to that essay, and I love that the essays are always included in the first pressings. But yeah, it's just one of those Westerns that, Barry Brown is such a perfect fit, I feel like, for this. And Jeff Bridges is wonderful. I mean, he just is an actor in his way out of time. Like, he could play this kind of Western character. He could play anything, and truly one of my favorite actors to ever do it, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I feel like this one's a bit underseen by everybody, and part of that is, it's been streaming available, but the DVD hasn't been that easy to get, as far as I recall, and it's so nice to see a beautiful presentation like this from Fun City. So if you're into, like I said, the sort of New Hollywood vibe, and westerns. There's tons of great, interesting westerns that came out in the 70s. Like immediately, I'm thinking of like, was that even the 70s? The Monty Hellman stuff, like The Shooting and Ride in the Whirlwind, and then Peter Fonda's The Hired Hand. There's a bunch of these that came out during this time, and Bad Company fits really well into that sort of paradigm. But yeah, acid western is a good way to put it, and that sort of sobering reality, definitely not a picture of a world that's out to help you. That's not going to be, it's not going to be the place that there's necessarily a happy ending, and I love the ending, and I love everything about this film. So anyway, a high recommendation from me for Bad Company. Looks great. I totally dropped the ball. Shot by Gordon Willis. I should have mentioned that right at the top. So beautifully shot, and he's one of our great cinematographers. Obviously shot The Godfather, but also shot things like Clute, and just the man who, what do they call him, the Prince of Darkness or the Master of Darkness? I mean, he was certainly able to light things in such a way as to give this real expressionistic vibe, and I've just always been a big fan of his work. And I think that's another thing that's a little slept on about this movie, is that he shot it, and I don't think he shot too many outdoorsy kind of westerny kind of movies. I'd have to go back and go through his filmography one at a time, but I feel like they're a lot more urban for the most part, the stuff that he does, and he does it very well. But yeah, just really beautiful stuff in terms of the landscapes. There's some wonderful shots via fire light, campfire light. But that's just an extra added layer of excellence that's already a part of a great, feature film debut. And I would say among one of the best debut films of the 1970s, and one that, I think really shows how great Benton was, not only as a screenwriter, but as a director right out of the gate. So, again, high recommendation. Head over to funcityeditions.com to order it via the website to get this exclusive slipcover and the booklet essay and everything I mentioned. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.